In this video, I'm going to give you 5 reasons why this machine revolutionised my detecting. Let's go. In 1999, XP released their first metal detector, which was called the Adventis, commonly known as the Metal Box Adventis. In about 2002, they released the groundbreaking Goldmax, and as well as the G-Max. Now, the original Goldmax went on for a few years, and then it was superseded by the XP Goldmax Power, which is what I'm using here today. So let's just go through the 5 reasons why I think this Goldmax has revolutionised my metal detecting. Well, to start off with, reliability. This machine never let me down, and I must admit I never treated it particularly well. It was always thrown into the back of my truck and taken everywhere. So reliability is the main factor of this machine. Switch it on, it started up every time. I don't think I ever had a fault. The coil lugs, the coil connection system, everything was what we were asking for. Typically back then, a lot of the machines run at a very low operating frequency, 4, 5, 6, 7 kilohertz. This 17 kilohertz was virtually unheard of. Although some machines did run a slightly higher frequency, but they never hit the mark. They were never perfectly matched to the circuit. Yet the XP Goldmax, everything was super sweet. That 17, 18 kilohertz range made this machine a real ninja on a Roman site. It soon became apparent back then when I first started using the Goldmax that it was imperative to use headphones with this machine. Using it through the speaker did it no justice at all. And the perfect match for this machine was the tiny little wired backphones what was supplied with the machine. They really gave you a lot of information about iron and difficult targets. And I could never understand why people used converted ear defenders with this machine, because it lost all the XP magic, that fine tone that it gave on some targets. Converted ear defenders just made everything sound dull. Never understood that. There you go, we got a signal, look. Never had any screens back then. It was all down to our ears. And there you have it, it's a piece of coke. So this would be a good opportunity to demonstrate the coke rejection feature, which is called auto on the Goldmax Power. Now if we turn this feature to the auto, click, now that should now reject coke. Can you hear how that's turned it to an iron tone? Really good feature that, and that's the beauty about it. It won't reject your small coins or anything like that, but it will just give a different sound on coke. We used to use that quite a lot in the field because it saved us a lot of time. Some places in the UK, the fields are full of coke, so this auto switch was a real godsend. This machine had an ABS control box which was mounted, as you can see, on the back of the stem. You could also hip mount it, and we could detect all day without any problems at all. Just remember, back then we were using some seriously heavy machines. And option number 4, it has to be controls and features. Now the Goldmax and Goldmax Power comes with a 2D wide scan coil, but there was an optional concentric coil, which we use to great success. So as you can see there on the right, we've got the silencer, 0, 1 and 2. The red triangle's next to the 1, so that's your suggested setting, as with just below it the ground balance. Again, a red triangle, suggested setting. Below that is your iron volume, how high or low in volume you want the low tone to be. Sensitivity, now that's an interesting one, because even on mineralised ground, this machine would go through the soil better at sensitivity 0 than its competitors would on full. So this was a machine designed for bad ground conditions. Above that you've got the iron threshold, which is basically discrimination. If you click it into auto, you'll have coke rejection and nothing else. And as you feed it in, you start rejecting iron. Around just below 10 works for me. On the left there you've got frequency shift, 1, 2 or off. And that's if you're using the XP cordless headphones, you can change detection channels through the headphones. So if your friend's using the same headphones and you're on the same channel, you can just shift to a cleaner channel. Probably notice why I've got that little cap in the back there. Well, inside this cap is a small piece of ferrite, and I used to tune the coil in using the ground balance to this piece of ferrite. Which leads me on to reason number 5, and probably the most important reason why this machine transformed my detecting. Well, back then we used to use some what we thought were good machines, and I had some good sights. But it wasn't until I picked up the original Goldmax Power I realised what I was missing. It opened up many fields for me. Just the pure performance and target separation. The recovery speed on this machine, well, there was nothing out there to match it. And what also gave me confidence is I didn't have to read a magazine or watch a YouTube video. There's a signal there, come back to that, to know that this was a good machine. I knew the guy who made it, and I knew he was passionate about having the best tool for the job. And secondly, I think what made this machine so special is back then we were using dollar and dime machines, as we called it. They were for the American market. And this was one of the very few machines what were made in Europe, for the European market. So it worked really well on our ancient UK sites. So if you've got one of these Goldmaxes or Goldmax Powers sat in your cupboard, get it out and give it a go, because you may have forgotten how good it is. Did you used to own an XP Goldmax? Do you still own an XP Goldmax? It would be nice to know, if you still use one, how are you getting on with it? Why not post your thoughts below? Is it a perfect machine? No, not by any standards. I don't think there is a perfect machine, but all I can say is back then, it certainly revolutionised my metal detecting. So the big question is, how would the Goldmax and the Goldmax Power stack up to today's machines? Well, without a doubt, you'd have a good day with it, but if you've been using something like the XP Deus, Deus 1, Deus 2, you may find it a little bit hard going back to the XP Goldmax and Goldmax Power, because you had to work a lot harder with them to get the best results, whereas your Deuses, they kind of do everything for you. Plus you've got the screen and added information, you've got lots of tone choices. There was no updates every few months just to change it into a new machine. That's what we were given, that's what we had to work with. In the early days of the Goldmax, you had an updated pick, which did change the tone slightly. Some people liked it, some people didn't, but that's exactly the same as the Deus updates of today. So it's all a case of really what you're comfortable with. But there's one thing for sure, if you picked up the Goldmax Power today and went out on a half decent site, I'm pretty sure you'd have a good day with it. Well, that's it really, guys. Thanks for watching my video. I hope you've enjoyed it, a little trip down memory lane, and perhaps on the next video I'll be taking this out in anger and try it on a decent site, see if we have any luck. But until then, be lucky, thanks for watching, and bye for now.